What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today is episode 319. And we are in the midst of an interesting NBA playoffs unfolding in front of our eyes. Stanley Cup's also probably one of the most entertaining Stanley Cups in a really long time. But we're here.
Here's the thing with the Stanley Cup. Obviously, like this past game last night, I guess Thursday night, comeback game, go to overtime, Oilers come back win. Last year, though, I would still say it was entertaining. Last year, they had the whole comeback almost reverse sweep for the series.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing. I feel like in hockey, every single hockey series, doesn't matter if it's a 1 versus 8, a 5 versus 4, it's at least going 6. Minimum, it's going 6.
That is true. I will just say this one thing.
I feel like unless it's a 1 versus 2, then for some reason one of them is 4-1. Like when it's supposed to be a lit matchup,
it's not. I will say the one thing as a Wild fan, I just feel like if the Wild somehow were in this finals and in the Stanley Cup finals right now, they'd be down 0-3 somehow.
Like I'll say
it would be bad.
I'm not even a hockey casual. Calling me a hockey casual is an overstatement. So I'm beneath casual.
I would just
I'm not a hockey.
Kopitar in the background. Yeah.
Is there another hockey thing here? Oh, just
I think it's just Kopitar.
But I know Anze Kopitar, Dustin Brown, Jonathan Quick. I know Adrian Kempe now because every time I go to a Kings game, the Kings get a shootout and Kempe scores it.
Yep.
I've gone to like 3 Kings games.
Two of them have been with me.
Okay, so I've been to 2 Kings games. Both times Kempe scored a shootout. I was also made aware that a shootout can happen like a penalty kick in game. I thought it was just
it can.
I was like,
you know what?
In game. I thought it was a penalty. You take a dude off. I don't think you get a free shot.
You're also playing the NHL game right now.
That's not.
But you never know what icing is, because that question did come up multiple times when we would go watch games.
Yeah. I understand icing. If you asked me to explain it to an 8-year-old, I couldn't do it. But if I saw icing happen on the court,
you're like,
I could say
icing.
I could do that.
Yeah.
So, you got to start off small.
Yeah, great Stanley Cup right now. I feel like it's like the optimal matchup. I feel like no other matchup would kind of have this.
I've stuck out my neck for being a McDavid hater, and staying somewhat on that, though, just being a new timer in contrast to our old timer NBA takes that there's the superstars today aren't the superstars 10 years ago. Because this is, I'm not even following hockey, but because this is the only time I'm aware of it, I personally would want Connor McDavid to go win 4 Stanley Cups so I can say when I'm 60, this new kid's nothing compared to McDavid. You could have seen who I saw when I was growing up. So I want him to win because selfishly somehow I can, as an old timer in 40 years, make something with.
We're gonna say collectively the best I grew up in the best generation of athletes. I gotta watch.
I'm gonna say
Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady,
you can't.
Ronaldo,
Messi, Real Madrid, Barcelona. I don't think you could ever touch that.
No, my kids will be talking about whoever their athlete of the day is or of the generation is in 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I mean they'll be talking
about
Call of Duty players.
Let me teach you a thing or two about Stumpy. All right, let me teach you a thing or two about Nate John.
Yeah, let me teach you. Let me teach you how to be a good teammate and plant a bomb like Killa. Okay? Let me show you what real team. But no, hockey. That's been a little something to watch. I would say though, the one thing about hockey that it's a little unfair that they have this, and in NFL technically they have the same thing, but it doesn't work because it's bullshit. But because it's golden goal, hockey overtime, you can't really have a more exciting overtime system. Like in football, you could do the first touchdown. Now it's the other team has a chance, but it's not the same. Whereas like in hockey, just goal and goal, no one's bitching if the other team just wins the face off, owns the puck. Hey, you earned.
You do also you do also have a shoot.
I thought for playoff, I'm pretty sure I heard this the other day. Playoff hockey is the only sport in the world where the entire overtime rules haven't been publicly announced because
no
playoff game has gotten
it's got to go far enough for
and they just take a player off like it's high school soccer, right?
Yeah, so here
but they've never been to a seven overtime.
Here are just the general rules right now. Okay, here are the general rules.
Like it's the first and second overtime the exact same, right?
So
they don't take a play.
Games are played until this team scores a goal, meaning there's no shootout, no. Okay, within the first 5 words.
But I know someone mentioned
he's raising his hand.
Regular no playoffs. Regular season overtime. It's 3v3s,
and then it goes to shootout.
In the playoffs, does it go to 3v3 OT1?
Full strength.
That's what I thought. Continue.
Yeah, so it's overtime periods are 20 minutes. Teams remain 5-on-5.
Yeah,
and you go until 20 minutes. You go until teams.
And the overtime periods do not decrease, correct? Or if you're an OT6, it's now 10 minutes and there's nuts.
I believe it stays at 5.
Well, what does Siri have to say?
I am not asking. I'm not going to ask her.
We had some Siri difficulties.
We've had some very large Siri difficulties.
It was also funny because we actually found the perfect moment that you would use Siri, and then it did.
Yeah, no. Well, it did work, and then Grant started talking, and then it like.
But that just goes to
it doesn't work.
Like Tim Cook fixed that shit.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's just all straight through. It's just 5-on-5 full strength.
So they just keep it 5. Okay.
I will be honest, it would be kind of sick though if like every period of overtime you just lost. So like first period you have 5-on-5, second 4v4, third 3v3.
I'm just thinking strategy involved. If it just keeps dwindling down, then the lines you create 3v3, a full hockey team is 25, 26 players. You count both goalies, 4 lines, 3 lines of defense.
Yeah,
like 25, 26. So what I'm thinking is if you go from 5v5 down to 3v3, you're not using all 26 guys.
No, the line.
Yeah, the lines are going to shorten and stuff. And so I'm just thinking of, like, I don't know any hockey strategy. Like, I have a friend whose dad, Max, is Canadian, and I was like thinking the other day how I would ask him to educate me about hockey. And I think the first question I asked is, can you tell me what the pick and roll of hockey is? What is just a basic play in hockey? Because I literally
I will be honest, like that goes past my hockey.
Hey, no, but
I don't know.
As a man who wants to become a puckhead, I know I'm not, but I want to be one. I think that's the first.
That's a life goal.
I think that's
I
think that's a very decade-long goal.
Decade-long life goal.
We'll revisit this 2036. Episode 3000.
Yeah. I mean that could work. But I don't know. I just think that it'd be cool though. Because hockey is the one sport where like you go through each overtime and then lose a player, and then once you get to like the 5th overtime and it's 1v1, then that's just shootouts.
My other question in hockey though is like they just keep on playing.
Yes.
Like full speed.
Yes.
In soccer, if they go to extra time, at least 6 players on each team are like admittedly like conserving their energy. Like if they are sprinting up and down the field, the manager will be mad. Like, dude, what are you doing? We have a match in 2 days. Like, you need to conserve. Like, but I love how much
it is also strategy. Sometimes like those teams, especially like it depends when in soccer, right? Like if we're talking about World Cup or like another kind of tournament style.
Even in the World Cup.
No, I know, but I'm making this point. Dude, the difference is they will kind of do that, but also like they're just being like, I just put it to penalties.
No, they admitted they want it because it's like not even strategy aside. They're literally like
unless you're gonna force how old was Soccer when he was forced to take a penalty shot?
No, that was cool.
He was still. I believe he was a minor.
They made Rashford, Sancho, and Saka. The last 3 pounds. They're all in ages 18 to 23.
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, everyone sits on Saka missing the last one. Go look up Marcus Rashford's penalty. Dude, you're kidding.
And they made Saka also just take the very last one. Like that was the season.
He took the 5th one, that's score, and you can't really be mad at him for that. Yeah. But okay, just a quick soccer. Just let's kind of go talk because I've been seeing so much about Ronaldo recently. He just like won this, to be honest, a bullshit trophy that like UEFA just made.
Yeah, but you see that.
Like the reason why I don't really count it is because this tournament it happened in like a week. Like the Champions League ended 2 weekends ago. Portugal had a fuck ton of players, and Spain. They had a shit ton of players in that Champions League, and literally 6 days later they're in international final. So it's like that was a little BS. But it's like the one thing about soccer that I find crazy is the glazing, and it's like I think there's a lot of comparisons between college football fans and soccer fans in the sense that there's so many different leagues. There's so many different ways of playing the sport. And everyone's extremely passionate. You're a cult with your favorite college or team. And it's just like accepted cult behavior. College football and soccer fans.
Well, it's like, when you talk about, like, okay, it's also like rivalries. Like in soccer, if your team loses, you objectively want everybody else to somehow lose.
There's
the same in college football.
When Man U loses to
Spain. Yeah, it's the same with college football. Like if Georgia loses, if like Tennessee loses, you're not watching. You're just like I hope everybody loses.
The other thing I'd say is like soccer fans are similar to Ohio State fans in the sense that if their own players start sucking, instead of like blindly supporting them, like many American fans tend to do, they will turn on their own players, MF them online, go out of their way to make sure that they know that they play like shit. And like that is one thing where I find similar. This is one difference. Soccer fans, whoever's the best player on their team or in that generation, they will prop them up as if they're one of the greatest ever. Whereas I think Americans are more inclined to shit on the current generation superstars, but they're not as good as Kobe.
Okay, well, we talk
about it like Lamine Yamal's the greatest player ever.
Yeah.
Like, you guys just see it. Let's come on.
But also we talked about this the other day, and we were originally planning to record the episode when we had talked about this, and then we kind of delayed it. But we were talking about just the generations of superstars now versus across all sports, and how like you're talking about the separation and like stardom. Like you're like there are superstars. There's only a couple. Where if you play Madden or whatever you say, X Factor is like the top tier.
Okay, actually, right? I saw this recently. Madden 20 X Factor list.
Yeah.
And it's just going through it, and the caption just like almost shed a tear, man. What happened? And you're seeing all these big name guys, and you're like, oh wow, that NFL has changed.
Thinking about
it. But then you start looking at some more of some of these guys. E.Y. Hilton's X Factor, Geno Atkins.
They were just giving that thing out.
As an X.
I'm like giving it out.
Oh yeah, no. Just because you made the Pro Bowl doesn't mean you're an X.
Well, like also, I mean, it's worse. Like obviously, we're talking about the NFL, and we've had episodes where we've talked about the NBA too. But the general thing is
a lot.
The general thing is like even in the NBA or NFL or NHL or MLB, like there are only, if we are using the Madden terms, talking about X Factor, Superstar, Star. I don't know if there's any other ones, but let's just use that as like the tier list, right?
Yeah.
there are probably like 3 or 4 players max that are superstar, or not superstar, that are X factor worthy players across all those.
Yeah. Like I think, yeah, it obviously changes. Like here, this one, I think we could be really biased, but NFL growing up, 2010s, like Reebok
Okay.
NFL.
Yeah.
I just feel
Greatest
like
generation of jerseys.
there were a lot more just stud franchise quarterbacks, primarily stud franchise running backs. Like I'm thinking fantasy football here, but like forget that.
Yeah, but I would still say
Alright.
if it was 15 years ago and we were having this conversation then, we would probably be saying the same thing. But now, where it's just the hindsight, like, yeah, objectively speaking, currently looking back 15 years, they were better.
Yeah, well, I think
But
NBA's a bit better.
there's a bigger separation between great, good,
Yeah,
and
like NBA superstars we're growing up. You're without question, these guys are all superstars. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Allen Iverson,
Dwayne Wade.
D Wade, Carmelo Anthony. Okay. Dirk Nowitzki
Yes.
is
You put him in there.
okay. Here, I think he's a good example. He objectively was a superstar. He won a ship. He's an international, like he is, but like not really. Like I'm thinking of like a Steve Nash, a Chris Bosh, not superstars, great players. Like I think they're Bosh is in the Hall of Fame, Steve Nash Hall of Fame, like Hall of Fame dude. But that doesn't mean they're a superstar. Uh, I'm thinking of like a Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. I think those guys were considered superstars. Oh, I think I'm going to counter myself. I think those guys are considered superstars in my head. Is T-Mac Vince Carter like a top 50 NBA player of all time? Hell
No.
Hell no.
But it's the memories we made along the way.
Yeah.
It's the memories
I
we made
feel like
along
I'm
the way.
checking myself here as I go through this. Think about it. Like Dwight Howard, on the Magic, Superman Dwight,
Tim Duncan, superstar.
Okay, this thing.
What about
Tim Duncan was a superstar. He didn't act like it.
Yeah.
He was.
He was quiet.
But because he's so quiet, people then like reflect on him and think he wasn't that good of a basketball player. Look up 2002, 2003 Tim Duncan.
Kevin Garnett,
Superstar.
Paul Pierce,
Superstar. Ray Allen's like a fringe. He was a superstar,
yeah.
but fringe. Okay, I think I'm countering my point. Like, okay, Yao Ming,
not superstar.
not
But I think for okay.
I think Yao Ming.
Let me put it this way.
Superstar.
Let me put it this way.
T-Mac.
I think if you were to ask us from our, I think you were asking us like Black Eyed Peas generation, Yao Ming superstar. I think if you're asking somebody who's our age right now that was watching them then, like our age now back then watching Yao Ming, then I think they'd be like,
no. Okay, you know what? Fair. You know what? This revision. You know what? This is good. This is a learning experience for us. we need to be aware of.
I think it is the same thing a little bit. Like I feel like kids who are our age when Yao Ming was playing, were our age then now. So let's say what, like 8 to 10 years old.
Dude, they're gonna think Tyrese Halliburton is so good.
Yeah, the moment.
They're gonna think Tyrese.
Honestly, this is a good segue into the NBA finals. We can talk about that.
But NBA Pacers up 2-1.
Yeah, here's the thing that I want to first just mention regarding the NBA finals. First of all, we need to talk about the four logos.
Yeah. Okay.
So with that, allegedly, so since Adam Silver took over in 2014, they stopped doing like the logos on the field.
Yeah. I want to start off, make that point clear. It hasn't been there for a decade, guys. Like, if you act like it just happened, like in the bubble, no,
but
it has been there for a while.
They basically said, they were like, yeah, we took it off just because like we didn't want to like be distracting, like it could be a concern, like blah 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 blah, like we don't want to have to replace the wood and all this stuff. Yeah, so NBA, explain to me why the mid-season tournament courts are logoed.
Yeah, okay.
And why it is at the actual stadiums and not like a neutral site. So
I mean,
somebody explain that one to me because that doesn't make sense.
that one's an excellent point. I'm not gonna. Yeah, no, make that make sense.
Somebody
Silver say
clarify.
like it's unsafe on the court and it's extra slippery, and it's like, you know what? If I'm thinking about what those logos used to look like, Everett, they were in 4K. So they used the glossy extra wood to make sure that logo looked great. So I agree with Adam Silver in the sense that it probably was extra glossy.
Real quick, I just would like to say
The in-court.
yeah, so I'm gonna show you this, then I'll show the camera this. But this was the Bulls court mid-season tournament.
Show.
Like hopefully you guys can see that.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about glossy? I don't think it could get glossier than making the entire wood shiny red or whatever you're like. I think OKC was blue. Like we want to talk about it being a hazard because it's shiny or whatever. Changing the literal color of the wood, not just the logo. That's like
Okay, I got
similar.
Here's my biggest qualm with the NBA Finals. I'm okay with there not being an NBA Finals logo on the middle of the court. Objectively, that's fine. However, it's fine if you don't have that. If everywhere else, it's very obvious this is an NBA Finals game. Big Cat has been saying this a lot, but in 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when we're re-watching clips from this series, we should be able to immediately know it's an NBA Finals game. You should be able to instantly know it's an NBA Finals game. It should feel different. This is the NBA Finals.
Well,
like the NBA Finals should be
also
one of the most entertaining shit. It is one of the most successful live entertainment TV shows in the history of the United States.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think it won the conversation of like the stars comes into play a little bit there because like if we ever saw Kobe Bryant playing,
I think that helps.
We would know. We kind of know.
Let me get this. This is my problem. Now, if you're watching, let me just quickly look up the finals. If you're watching the NBA Finals today, and you are scrolling by, taking a look, this is what the score bug looks like in the NBA Finals.
You got it there.
Oh wait,
it's not like golden. It's not like how it used to be, where it was like very unique.
Yeah. At the bottom, here I'll show you. You can see a little tiny little finals, very bottom.
Yeah, like it used to be. Like let's put it this way.
But
it used to be like gold and like had the whole.
So this
thing,
is,
and now it's like very small.
This is from 2019. There's no NBA Finals logo on the court for this that I'm about to show you. This is what it looked like 2019. You see how all the logos are in gold? It's popping a little extra. That feels like the NBA Finals.
Also, now we gotta get the camera to focus. There you go. Technological problems.
It is clearly the NBA Finals. Also, it looks different. It feels different. You immediately know.
It's that, and it's also like, okay, one, the outrage caused the NBA to like put the logos like graphically on the court, but it's like was such like a crappy job. Like I'm pretty sure you saw.
Yeah, no, this isn't WWE entrances where like Roman Reigns 3D graphic takes up the whole screen on his like entrance. No, like I don't want this.
Also, hold on. Let's make it this way. No, here's my here's the
and the Bulls.
They took off. They stopped broadcasting the player entrances. Like they used to broadcast the player entrances. That's one thing that you could do. You could be only for the NBA Finals. First of all,
I'll be honest.
That could be something. But the other thing is, all right. If the whole argument, obviously, we already kind of exposed the NBA in the fact that it's like you can't make the argument for shiny, dangerous sports or whatever logos when the midseason tournament has the trophy on the main court. But if you want to make a whole issue about that, all right, you can clearly graphically digitize the logos on the court. Just do that and make everybody happy. Just make the mid thing digital and put it on the broadcast.
Yeah, like I would just say there's just things that are like any other championship event.
They have a unique like Super Bowl logos on the field. It's all theatrical.
And Super Bowl's,
but still Stanley Cup. Same thing. They have
World Series.
World
There's a World Series nameplate right on the third base and first base lines.
Yeah,
like,
and they
there.
do change the scoreboard. They do have a different scoreboard. And like special commentators and stuff. And this just kind of really rates this game. But the other thing, Grant, game 1, I don't have updated stats from games 2 and 3, but game 1.
You want Calaberry?
Game 1.
What the Heliante?
The Pacers Thunder NBA Finals averaged a 4.7 rating out of 10 and 8.91 million viewers, making it the lowest rated and least watched finals opener since the tracker began in 1988. This is not counting COVID. But since 1988, this is the lowest rated
I'm gonna be honest,
and lowest watched NBA Finals.
I'm like shocked when they see COVID to have the lowest ratings. I understand.
I would have thought
what's going on. But dude, I swear, I was thinking about this the other day. A large reason I think I was inspired to do this podcast is when COVID hit and there was no sports. I realized I realized when there was no sports going on how much I need sports to just get through like 3 months at a time. Like, it's something to look forward to, and like that just being taken away just absolutely strips it. But one thing though, just about like the ratings objectively, we don't actually care at the end of the day. I think it's just funny though when you hear people being like, "Oh, I mean, the ratings are down, and as a result, this means the NBA should force Jokic to the Lakers." So and they go there. And I
think it's just interesting compared to the NFL, because one, the NFL wouldn't do that, but
it's
also
not.
It's not comparable. But the bigger point though is like it's whether or not the NBA sees that as a problem, and it's like compared to the other sports where I feel like a lot of the other sports are seeing like either it's stagnant or they're getting better ratings and more viewers. Well, also, and the NBA is kind of the inverse.
I'd say this is a bigger narrative for the NBA because it looks like the most corrupt fixed league.
True.
The lottery, like it. That's why I think it's a big deal.
It also has the most things about it come out being actually corrupt. So
yeah, of all the major sports, you tell me what's worse: steroids and Pete Rose betting on the Reds to win baseball games, or a ref literally trying to fix
or buying a recruit. That might be the worst one. That might be the worst one.
You know what's even worse than buying a recruit cheeseburger? Lying about buying said cheeseburger. So
what about selling your jersey to get a tattoo?
That's the most despicable. How dare you?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That should
the most dishonorable act by a man ever committed in prior to Veer Pussy, Boone Heron, and I'm missing my last one. There's a chance it was Brody, but I don't think he was there.
That sounds like a little bit later.
Yeah,
a little bit later.
Brody's a Meyer guy.
Yeah, but I don't know. The NBA. I mean, I'm happy the Pacers have made it a series. I really didn't think that it would be, and in fact, they're up 2-1. I think it's great because
to be this far, we've already won.
Yeah,
Game 4 is now entertaining.
Is it for the Pacers? Is Game 4 a can't lose or must win?
It is neither. It is neither for the Pacers. Thunder. It's a can't lose,
but not a must win.
It's a can't lose.
But Game 5 for the Pacers.
This is the thing. The Pacers could win this next game by 40, and still deep down, I'm like, I still can't see Thunder.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. Game 5 though, it's a must win for the Pacers. I'm preemptively saying must win, no matter what the outcome of this next game is.
I
agree with you. Must win. Must win.
No, I actually think I agree because if the Thunder win 2 straight here, to go up 3-2.
Or if the Pacers win this game, they need to close it out in 5. Otherwise,
I have no facts to back this up.
Not pure vibe.
But when a team goes up 3-1 in an NBA series that they should not be up 3-1, I think they have a 98% chance of winning Game 6 and closing it out in 6. No facts to back it up, but I think that.
So maybe it's a can't lose game.
I can say this with 100% confidence. Every single team that has played in a Game 7 and has outscored their opponent has won the series.
I mean, that would make sense. You're playing in a Game
Think about
7,
it.
if you outscore your opponent,
Think about it.
you outscore your opponent in Game 7, you would win Game 7.
I know that for certain. But yeah,
All right, let's get into some NFL stuff. There's a lot of NFL stuff, and there's also college football stuff that you want to talk about.
Really tiny cultural stuff where I'd say things are being fleshed out, moving around. I've seen initial this is one thing. Help me out. I saw Ohio State announce something with their structure, and I think they said $18.5 million of, I believe, of their $20.5 million salary. 18.5 will go to men's football, men's basketball, women's gymnastics, women's volleyball, 2 women's teams.
I have the actual full metrics.
It also said in that statement, the rest of the 20 million will go to the other student athletes, and I'm like, you guys are referencing $38.5 million.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
So what I just have generally speaking is that it's 20.5 mil rev share salary cap for the first year, which football will have about 13 to 16, just on a given basis.
Just on average.
Yeah, on average.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I also saw, I think, some lawsuit where they're going to be giving back pay to athletes from the 2010s.
Yeah, I saw that one too. And no, for that one, justice for Johnny, justice, famous Jameis. Dude, imagine the Jameis Winston crab leg promo possibility.
Oh man. I mean, would Tim Tebow technically still play? Yeah,
bro.
Tim
100%. Tebow would have made him, Reggie. There's
RG3. That would have been hard. That would have been a hard.
RG3 would have been the richest man in history of Texas.
Yeah, that would have been hard.
Him and Art Griles. But no. It's those guys I'm thinking of, Dominican Sue.
Nebraska.
There's guys that clowning at South Carolina. Marcus Lattimore.
I mean, dude, that clip, that just off the clip alone, we all know the clip. Dude, Avion Connell, we all know the clip. Yeah. That alone, not only would that be revenue shares, but also that would have just made so many jersey sales. You see that, you're like, yeah, I'm buying.
Yeah, I mean, this other thing that I would like to make clear about NIL. The main issue with NIL, it wasn't directly paying the players from colleges, which is what NIL quickly became. The problem, it was a guy like Reggie Bush. Actually, the best example is Zion Williams. When Zion was at Duke throwing down his dunks, more people were watching Zion Williamson Duke's clips, dunks online than many NBA players. And I truly believe that if I'm Michael Jordan, I would rather sign Zion in college than, I don't know who would have been drafted the year before in the NBA. I don't know, Triple J. Who would you rather have, Zion or Triple J to Jordan? College Zion or Triple J?
Would it have been Ant? Or would Ant be the year after?
Yeah. But it's Zion, I think, is the perfect example of he would have gotten a shoe deal.
When would it have been 2019
or 2020?
2019 NBA draft, right?
Yeah, but the point is just Zion was so well known. He was so popular just as an athlete that he warranted a sponsorship.
DeAndre Ayton. That's what it was.
But he warranted a sponsorship deal.
Well, also when he blew out his shoe,
dude, that was well, actually, that's the best. Actually,
that's the best marketing.
What happened to Nike stock after Zion blew out his shoe? That's how big Zion was. That him blowing out his shoe was enough to hurt Nike's stock. But that was enough. Like, that's how big he was.
Yeah.
But I mean, literally, actually, that's a perfect example. He blows out a Nike shoe. What if he forget Nike owns? Forget that. He signs a Jordan shoe deal the next day. Oh my! It would have been like the biggest news story ever for like. But that's how it started. It quickly turned into Jaden Rashada, come to Miami, we'll give you $12 million.
Who's Isaiah Proctor too? Just back forth.
Caden Proctor. But it quickly became that. But like, I want to like start off saying it's just, you know, the NIL like sponsorship deals, like a Caitlin Clark having 4 to 6 million in NIL, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I bet the Iowa ADs like you come here, like I can guarantee you 1.5 million NIL, but the next 3.5 to 4.5 million, like that's on you to get because you're Caitlin Clark. Like I am not going to get you this.
That's your agent
as an Iowa AD.
Yeah.
That's not.
We were all making more money than I will start there. We will start there.
And I also get a raise if you stay. So please stay. Like, you know, so that's still and like that should have always been there. I have no issue reading that like a Caleb Williams Beats deal. Like that's what NIL is about. Like that's the Jack Dolke Wingstop.
Yeah,
that's what
every March Madness. The one.
Like,
who's the McNeese guy?
Amir Khan, of course.
Not even an athlete, but not even an athlete.
Team manager, team doctor. So like, you know.
But okay. This is the last thing for I think the episode I want to talk about is NFL related, and I mentioned it to you before we started recording. But Shemar Stewart. All right, interesting situation going on with Shemar Stewart and the Bengals. First round pick this year, edge rusher. Basically, the situation is the Bengals are trying to redo the way that they structure rookie contracts. So they're trying to put in like new clauses or provisions into the contract that have never been there before. Okay. And it's like not good. It's
as it unique. What these could be. I just have no idea.
I mean, I can't remember exactly what his provision is related to, but it's just like structured pay, like whether you can be terminated, like injury, like guarantees, just the way that they're structuring out, like the stuff. And here's the situation though. Shemar Stewart, I didn't know this until the other day. There are technically three things that could happen right now. Shemar Stewart signs, they like figure out they sign. Shemar Stewart,
is this similar to Joey Bosa when he held out from the Chargers?
I don't think so.
No,
this is so he can sign. He can opt out of the entire season.
Yeah,
and re-enter the draft, and the Bengals cannot draft.
Rocker.
Yeah. The final thing, Grant, that I did not know you could do, but it makes sense. It's kind of like the MLB. You can trade his rights to another team if it's within 30 days before the first regular season game. You can trade the player's rights if they're not signed to another team, but it has to happen 30 days before the first game. So I don't know whatever the day of the first game is.
Not 30 days after signing.
No, so he's not signed. He is not signed. You literally are just his rights as a drafted player. You can say, "Hey, you haven't signed with the Bengals. Bengals, we're going to trade the rights. We're to sign him. We're going to trade Shemar Stewart's contractual rights from the Bengals to the Patriots for a future third-round pick, or future first-round pick." But it has to happen at least 30 days before the first game of the season. So about a month before. So we're kind of
30 days or more.
So it has to be
under.
Meaning, like, if it's under, that would mean you can trade him within 5 days. So it would have to be 30 or more days.
So right now,
right now, the moment it hits 30 days, a month before you can. But like that's just you want to talk about not Tom. You want to talk about pulling an Eli Manning. If this happens, Grant, this is the ultimate NFL pulling a Shemar Stewart. Like that's what it will be from now on.
my favorite.
That's the ultimate.
I don't. I'll need to read what this contract speaks. But
Let me see if I can
we're just look at the Bengals football team right now, Shemar Stewart's got a pretty nice opportunity here in Cincinnati to get on the field quickly.
Well, also the problem is Trey Hendrickson also has.
Well, that's where I'm getting at. Where I'm like, dude.
So here's what I'm reading. Here's what I'm reading for his contract.
But I mean, it's saying kind of alluded something like that, man.
What I'm reading is so the language has changed. It's an unfavorable bonus guaranteed money payout structure, and other teams have basically made it so like it's player friendly, and this one is like making it way more team friendly. And then it's also like negative like potential like outcomes, like I guess something injury related, or maybe like being able to like not guarantee any money if you like have injuries or something on your rookie deal. So like you just might not get paid. And they're trying to like change the structure to make it team friendly. That fact, but like every other team rookie contract. It's supposed to be the only time you have guaranteed money. So
yeah, NFL contracts are an interesting little beast. I feel like that's so Ohio professional sports.
I guarantee you, you know the reason why they're doing this. The reason why it's happening because
the reason why who's
the Bengals. The reason why they're like changing the structure of the contracts right now for rookies.
How will this benefit them, or like cheap Joe Burrow?
It's legitimately because they spent all their money on three players, and they have no more money. So they're like, how can we find a way to like somehow fix our cap?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's a lit ass trio, man. Lit ass trio. Don't know how many football games they'll be winning. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are sick. Do not get it twisted. Thickest quarterback wide receiver trio in terms of aura in the league.
I just think objectively speaking, like
what is that going to do with it?
You should not. The wide receiver 2 position is a luxury. Like teams that win with good wide receiver 2s, and it helps your wide receiver 1 get open. But at the same time, like defenses win championships who need depth. The Bengals really have neither. Their offensive line is not good.
Well, yeah, it's like the Eagles.
And here's the thing, like but also it's different. AJ Brown is not getting paid Jamar Chase.
Well, I'm not saying that. It's just like the Eagles also got the entire defense is all pros on rookie contracts.
Oh, you mean Georgia?
Maybe that helps give money to the offense.
But also at the same time, like the Vikings, I think really demonstrated this well, where they let Adam Thielen go, and in change, they drafted a wide receiver 2 in the first round, and we'll see what happens when Jordan Addison's contract comes up. But you're able to replace those wide receiver 2s. You just have to invest.
What year is it?
2025.
Ohio State just landed a 2028 commit. Let's get the ball rolling, boys. Let's get it rolling, baby. 2028.
But
sophomore is
very possible.
He might be a sophomore.
It's very possible. But I think with that we'll probably just wrap up here. Shout out to little tennis shout out to
shout out Elijah Newman. That guy's 15. That guy's
But hey, we didn't mention it, but tennis is in a good spot. Sinners in
actually looking at this, I saw a stunning chart. These are the major 4 winners Everett for the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
Let's just show you this chart real quick.
So let me just say, I see 1, 2.
It's just 3 guys. Guys,
4,
over.
5, 6 names. 6 different names over the past
So
however many years.
every time you see a green, that is Federer, Djokovic, or Nadal.
Yeah.
That's 20 years. That's 20 years.
6 names over 20 years is crazy.
So back to your thing.
But
could you ever top them 3 competing at their primes? Federer, Nadal, Djokovic.
No.
Could you ever get better competition?
No, but I will say Sinners and Carlos Alcaraz Alcaraz. You know, it's the tennis has a really good future.
This is hilarious. Looking at the French Open, it's Rafael Nadal essentially every single year.
Yeah.
Every single year.
We're gonna wrap up here though. So thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Rate us 5 stars. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at WaterboyPod. You can follow me and Grant on Twitter at Everett.
X, the Everything app. It's all happening on
at Everett Stakes and at Waterboy Grant. We post new episodes every week on YouTube and all podcast platforms. So make sure you check us out there at the Waterboy Pod. We also post exclusive content on Instagram and on TikTok as well. So make sure you check us out there. With that, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Waterboy is out.